I'll tell you right now that you couldn't achieve results like that without the proper utilization of debt weapons. Real quickly to remind you, debt weapons allow you to maximize your cash flow, compress amortization schedules, create better bank accounts than the ones you have now. Charles had alluded to really the fact that we're shortchanged on our checking and our savings accounts at the bank. And look, they're just doing good business. The difference is that when you're properly educated, you can create a more mutually balanced relationship with the banks where you're using what they're already providing you in a way that benefits you more than you've probably been taught before. You invest more quickly and safely, as we're showing you here in this class, and you can minimize the total volume of interest you spend throughout your lifetime by 3, 4, 5 times what you think you probably are capable of. And finally, you get to enhance your FICO scores further, which we're going to talk about in just a few moments. You do need a 700 or better FICO credit score in order to achieve getting between $2,000 to $150,000 per debt weapon that you are pursuing. In order to go after a debt weapon, the 4 questions that need to be answered include which debt weapon to get, where to go to get it, when you should apply for it, and what purpose will it serve once you have it. I want to emphasize that at no point should you ever be done looking for more debt weapons. When you have access to capital, what Charles has been teaching us becomes far more real. The people that aren't getting involved in real estate for one reason or another, who want to, aren't because they don't have money. So debt weapons solve that problem. We do research every single week, spending anywhere between 5 to 15 hours in order to just answer these 4 questions: which, where, when, and why. So we can help guide you on that. If you have not yet had your free personal implementation coaching session after watching the debt-free class, make sure you take advantage of it, because there are a lot of dangers if you're not using these debt weapons properly. Here are just a couple snapshots of the checklists that we go through, and these are just a fraction of the ones that we've created in order to make sure that we know the answers. Please minimize the credit you have available to yourself if you do not have financial discipline. And we can help you with that discipline if you need it. In the end, debt weapons will create safety for you. Now, one thing I want to point out is that beyond today's class, there are a number of classes that we offer that will help you learn all you can about debt weapons. The one that we're learning about today is the real estate investing class down here. And there are 2 different classes that we have right now on that. But we're also going to be introducing a Mortgages 101 class where you can learn all you need to about the right types of mortgages. Also, how to get access to business lines of credit. Business lines of credit being tools that really don't even report to your personal credit report and don't even require personal guarantee at times. The Infinite Banking class, this will teach you how to gradually eliminate the need for banks in your life ever again. Residual income, how to make over 6 figures residually and passively where it doesn't cost you much money to get in, if anything at all. Credit scoring, and debt/cash flow. So we talk about all these. Anything in Gold is a free class that we welcome you to attend, and you'll receive emails inviting you to participate online. Real quickly about FICO scores, keep in mind that you want to always shoot for a 760 or better credit score, because you will spend far too much money if you don't have a 760 or better over the course of your investing career. The minimum score you need in order to get access to debt weapons is a 700 or better. Now, there are credit scoring maximization solutions that we can guide you towards that are far more effective than credit repair. And we've been doing that for years and years. We've been actually teaching around the country about credit scores for over a decade. Now, if you are looking to invest in real estate, which I assume you are because you're on this presentation, keep in mind that the credit scoring minimum needed is typically a 660 or better on a non-owner occupied financed loan. However, there are exceptions to every rule as it pertains to lending and underwriting. So you may be able to get access to a seller financed property that really doesn't have this minimum credit score requirement. Just keep in mind that this is standard, and you're going to want to always try and drive your credit scores higher. All right, we do have solutions for you that we can guide you to. These are free to VIP coaching students if needed, and the results are really quite remarkable. You can see here on a MyFICO report, the 549 FICO score in this example climbed to a 696 in just 11 months' time. This is just a snapshot of that 11-month period. So you really can be proactive about your credit scores and get exceptional results. 2 big reasons to maximize your FICO scores. The first is that it reduces expenses such as insurance, such as interest rates. The other big reason is it enhances your borrowing power. So you can get access to those debt weapons, you can get access to the mortgages you're going to need to buy, and you can get access to the private lenders that are available. Finally, before we close up shop for the day and I tell you a little bit more about VIP and tell you what your next step is, I want to just ask a couple quick questions. I don't want to spend too much time on this, Charles, so that we can get people out of here within an hour. But I want to ask you just off the cuff for a basic answer to each one of these questions. How much money do I need in order to become a real estate investor?
Okay, assuming that we're just talking about someone who doesn't use your services, just a regular person off the street, you are almost certainly going to need to put 20% down. You're going to probably need a few $1,000s for closing costs. At the same time, in your market, there might be a mechanism where you can have 2, 3, 4%, what they call the seller cash back to you. So you're probably going to need something like 25% of the purchase price. On top of that, I would highly recommend you don't do this if you only have a month or two in the bank. We want to be conservative. If you don't have some money, just in case you have a vacancy, in case somebody breaks a window, you don't want to be really tight. You want to have maybe 6 months of reserves just to make sure. Just trust me. Sometimes, very infrequently, but sometimes things go wrong and you don't want to get yourself in a bad position.
So is it true right now that the banks are not lending?
Well, it's absolutely not true. And I hear that all the time. I mean, like I said, I've closed 88 deals so far this year. I closed a lot of deals. The banks are absolutely lending. Why people say this is because, are the lending criteria more difficult than they were in 06? Yes, they are. The question then is, shouldn't they be? And quite frankly, I think they should be. What happened is everybody got a loan in 05, 06, 07, and then half of them lost their properties. If you have a reasonable FICO, if you have a job, if you make money, and you sit down with a lender, you probably can get a loan, no problem. The next question you might have is, well, what if I'm self-employed? Can I get a loan? I can't get a loan. That's not true. You can get a loan if you're self-employed, but you have to have taxes that show you make money. I'm self-employed too. I understand about self-employed people and how they make write-offs with their taxes. Being self-employed is not a problem. Having a tax return that does not show any income is a problem, and you will almost certainly not be able to buy a property if that's the case.
So how much does location and condition play a role?
It plays a role, but very subtly. So you have some folks who say you always have to buy in this kind of neighborhood. I disagree. You can buy in any kind of neighborhood. In my market, typically the lower end neighborhoods and the lower end properties, so that's the condition part, almost always give you a higher monthly return. My guess is you're going to find the same thing in your market. So what I would say is, I think it was step 3 or something. Go out, look at the market, figure out what one neighborhood will typically give you for a return, figure out what another neighborhood and another neighborhood, and then make some choices. But there's no such thing as you have to buy here or you can never buy there. It's just not that easy. That's why you need to take some time to figure this out in your market. And again, if you give me a call, I'll be happy to chat with you about that sort of thing.
So is multi or single family generally better?
Great question. It doesn't necessarily matter. Look at the numbers, figure it out. The one thing with multi, duplexes, fourplexes, you are going to have neighbors that sort of irritate each other. I like single families better, but the numbers should drive your decision.
Great answer. So is it better to fix and flip or to buy and hold?
It really depends on what you're looking for. This discussion has been about buying and holding. I do have some fix and flippers, but frankly, these guys are pros. If you are just getting into real estate, I would suggest that you not get into fix and flipping. Yes, the short-term returns can be much higher, and so can the short-term disaster. I like buy and holds for people because I think you have a much, much lower risk of getting yourself into trouble.
So I know how I would answer this question, but where would someone get their investment advice?
Well, I mean, you start by giving me a call, and most likely you're not going to be in my market, so I'm not really trying to sell you anything. I just like talking to people, and I want to learn about different markets as well. What we need to do, if you want to learn more about this, is find a person in your area that's like me, that's an honorable person who does this and is looking for a long-term client to counsel you through this whole process.
And I can tell you right now, if you already have a real estate agent that you trust, that's half the battle. So make sure that you remain loyal. It goes a long way. So what skills does it take to be a real estate investor, Charles?
I think it takes patience more than anything else. I think it takes patience, being able to solve problems, understanding that sometimes you have a bad day. Sometimes your lender might say, hey, we have a problem, and you have to fix it. Sometimes your tenant might say, we have a problem. It just takes the ability to not freak out about things, to have the time, to have the patience, to have the understanding that this is a long-term plan. This is a business that you're building. You're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days, but in the end, you're going to make a lot of money. You're going to do a lot of good.
I love that. Patience. And it kind of leads into this next question. What if somebody has bad credit, no money? I'm going to answer this one for you. Watch the 100% Debt-Free for Life class. It's a perfect starting point. We're going to dive into the natural organic way to raise your credit scores, the natural organic way to maximize your cash flow, and then we can qualify you to become a 3D affiliate where we can help you start making more money. Sometimes it just boils down to you need to make more money, and that's okay. We can give you solutions there as well without selling you something. What is a good rate of return on an investment property? And we already covered this slightly.
It depends completely on where you are. If you're in San Francisco, you might be making 4%. If you're in Detroit, you might be making 40 to 45, maybe 50%. And again, give me a call. We can talk about this. In my market where I am in Denver, Colorado, typically 16 to about 28% cash on cash in the first year is what we are actually getting. But it completely depends on what part of the country you're in.
And finally, what are your thoughts about hard money?
Hard money being basically you go to a guy or a company that has lots of money and they'll lend it to you, but their terms are tough. You might have to pay it back in 6 months, pay maybe 4 points, 12 to 15%. There is nothing wrong with hard money if it's the right and proper use of it. This means you have to understand everything about the hard money. I have lots of clients that buy with hard money and then they refinance after they fix the property up at a higher value. It is a perfectly legitimate business, but you need to know what you're doing.
It's also a great way to get in with less out of your own pocket. So you may want to attend the Buying Real Estate with Little to No Money Down. It will talk in greater detail about hard money. A little bit about VIP if you're unfamiliar. VIP was founded in 2002. We started with the help of 44 mentors and experts, in fact, Charles being one of them. We became national leaders on cash flow, debt, and credit, and all of our online and on-site classes are provided for free. So we provide all of the education at no charge. Implementation and accountability for the services, that's where we make our money. So we do offer subscription-based coaching to help people put to practice what they learn in our classes. But I will say that not everybody qualifies for those. We're very strict about who we allow in. And the reason for that is because we want to continue to protect our perfect reputation. So we do guarantee results. That's why our pre-qualification process is strict. We do have countless testimonials. You can go to aboutvipfinancialeducation.com to see more of those success stories. We've been providing our classes and training to many companies over the years: NASA, Chicago Title, Carey, Remax, Your Castle Real Estate, which Charles owns, IRR, Foundation for Financial Wellness. The list goes on and on and on. This is a testimonial from the Chief of Police. When I first saw this, I thought, holy smokes, it was very informative and a great process. We love having the classes at the station, and we are really making great progress with our coaching and can't wait until the next class. That's from Jim May, Chief of Police in North Glen. Here you can see our A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau as well, and the fact that we've taught these classes for NASA at Johnson and Kennedy Space Centers. This testimonial is that I am the program director that's been offering the VIP debt-free education to the employees of NASA, and we've received wonderful feedback and plan to increase the availability of the curriculum. In one word, awesome. I would strongly recommend this information to anyone, and that's from Karen Myers. We're obviously very proud of that testimonial, but it does show you that even the smartest people in the country get a lot out of this content. So what are you supposed to do with the information that you got today? Hopefully you learned a lot. This is your chance to determine if and how real estate investing can improve your life. If you'd like to expedite your process, you can call to reserve your free session. Call us and we'll refer you to Charles. The number is 866-969-2738. Please leave a message if necessary. We do our best to call you back promptly. However, we do have a lot of demand, so please be patient. We'll get back to you as soon as possible. We really appreciate you joining us today for this class. Charles, thank you so much for being as generous as you always are and helping people, lead themselves down a path of success.
Thanks, Matt.